Welcome back to my channel, and let's tune into tarot for the month of July 2021 for anyone with a sun, moon, or rising sign in the sign of Capricorn. This reading is for you. Now, this is a general reading, so it will not resonate for everyone, but take what resonates and leave the rest behind for someone else. I hope you find some guidance and insight for your month ahead, and let's go ahead and jump in. So for the first week, we do have the Nine of Swords, and this is a card that indicates anxiety, fear, turmoil, restlessness. It can indicate your mind processing a lot to the point where you can't sleep. You're losing sleep over some kind of situation that's you're just very much in your head, and it's almost like you're creating mountains out of molehills. So you're thinking of hypothetical situations that are not based in reality. And there's a message here that you want to be very careful what you think and how you think, because potentially those things could manifest in your life. And this was also a message that came through in the previous reading for Sagittarius, is thoughts become things. And what you think about, you bring about. So it's important to replace any negative thinking with positive thinking whenever possible, and just bringing awareness to the idea of conscious, your thoughts and the energy that those thoughts have, and trying and just being mindful of what you're thinking about, what you're saying, how you phrase things, and trying to interject more positive words is important, because it seems like you're very fearful at this time, or just full of anxiety and negative thinking, and it's keeping you up at night. So be careful what you're thinking about, because what you think about, you bring about, okay? In the second week, we've got the Judgment card reversed. So this is speaking to the idea of there being a higher calling that you are ignoring, or the idea that there's a role that you are sort of being directed to step into, but you're either feeling like you're not ready to step into that role, or there's some kind of fear, or just a sense that maybe you're not good enough, or you don't know enough, or you're not skilled enough. There's some kind of lack, like you're lacking the substance in order to step into a role successfully, or for whatever reason you're just ignoring the call, this higher calling. You might think it's too hard, or it's too demanding, or you don't have the energy to fulfill it, but there's some kind of disconnect with what's kind of how the universe is directing you and what you're willing to do in order to step into that role. So let's see what else is coming up. And that might be what's keeping you up at night, is just the idea of like this higher calling looming over you, and you just not feeling ready to step into that. Now in the third week, we've got the Hierophant. So this can speak to either a religious leader or some kind of teacher, whether it's a spiritual teacher or a counselor, someone who can guide you or offer advice as maybe potentially how to navigate this feeling of anxiety in regards to a higher calling, or a new path that's presented itself that will kind of take you to the next level. But for some reason you're resisting it, so you're seeking outside guidance or counsel, which is good. You want to do that. I think it's important if you're struggling and experiencing a lot of anxiety and losing sleep over this. It also, I can see how maybe this idea of this higher calling is actually putting you into more of a teacher role, or the role of a spiritual guide or counselor, or leadership position where you might be guiding a group of people, or a course, or a class, or an online community. Perhaps this higher calling is putting you in that position and this is what you are resisting. Or it could be that you're participating in some kind of retreat or spiritual community or online course or online, even an online retreat. I feel like that's sort of something that happens these days with our current state of affairs. But it's possible there's some kind of community-minded event, or sometimes this can speak to like a wedding that can happen, or being in a church or going to church. But yeah, it's either in one way you're stepping into this teacher role or this counseling role, or you're receiving guidance from a teacher or a counselor or a therapist on how to navigate this anxiety and new path. The last week of the month, we've got the 9 of Pentacles reversed, and this speaks to a lack of confidence or a lack of self-worth. And so, yeah, it could be this sense, like I said, that you don't feel like you have enough skill, or you're not good enough to step into this higher calling or this role of some kind. 9 of Pentacles reversed can also speak to some other things, like wanting to invest, I think, in yourself sometimes. Is that 9 of Pentacles, where you're maybe investing in higher learning or educational pursuits to enhance your skills and enhance your sense of self-worth. So perhaps part of the Hierophant is that you are engaged in some kind of community, like online community or a course or a program, to enhance your skills, your knowledge, and your philosophies, so that you are better prepared to step into whatever this role is that you've been resisting. So it looks like you're maybe taking steps in order to create the environment that will foster a more successful debut as this role that you're stepping into, if that makes sense. I'm really fumbling over my words today. And then for the final words of wisdom from the Oracle, we have Vanishing Mirror. This says ego sublimation. And so we will read from the book here what this message is. So it has to do with themes of ego sublimation, letting go of self-centeredness, and becoming a vessel of possibility. Do you ever wonder if your self-definition has become too rigid, too fixed around what you've come to learn, so that you contract your life into zones of safe versus unsafe? This here is okay, but over there, well, that might be too risky. Judgment, fear, self-righteousness, and overconfidence are only some of the traits that keep you from evolving, right? So the Judgment card came out here. And the 9 of Wands speaking to fear and anxieties. So this seems like a very consistent and appropriate card. We are all products of our conditioning. So remember that this is part of the human experience. Yet you are not meant to remain static. Seeking only what you expect, even if it appears ambitious, is still too narrow. You go nowhere when you hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. When you focus too much on yourself, this way you become a servant of the ego, and it edges God out, removing the magic of possibility. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing only what you are now. If you can let your self-definition soften, moving beyond the veil to your potential, a magical emptiness exists where all things are possible. Look again. Who could you be? What would you see reflected if you allowed yourself to be other than how you define yourself now? Nothing less is required of you now. In this moment, let go of who you think you are and allow a new you to emerge. You will recognize yourself as what you are, a partner in co-creation in service to the divine. Doesn't it feel good? So I kind of see the message here is that you can step into this role and you will be successful. You just have to believe in yourself, and you have what it takes. Now, even, you don't have to go through all these steps of building up your confidence or seeking outside counsel necessarily, or gaining the extra skill. You can step into this role now, and you do have what it takes. And try to shed the stories, the previous stories, or any of the limiting beliefs that you've had kind of leading up to this point. You can manifest, if you think of your highest calling, you can absolutely step into that role. You just have to believe in yourself. But you do have what it takes, and I feel like that's the message that's coming through here. So release the judgment, the self-judgment, the self-critique, and believe in yourself, and just know that you have what it takes to step into this role and execute it successfully. All right. So Capricorns, I hope that reading resonated with you, and if it did, please give this video a thumbs up and comment below. Let me know how your month unfolds. I hope you found some helpful guidance here and some insights to navigate your month ahead, and I will check in with you next month. Take care.